Hi, welcome back to the Art of Frosting. I'm Liz Larson, back with some cake decorating basics. And today I have something really fun for you. This mermaid cake. It's totally 3D. And it looks hard, but actually it's amazingly simple. And I can't wait to get started and show you guys how to do this. Let's go. For this video, some of the unusual things we're going to be using are candy melts. These happen to be from Wilton and they're pre-colored, basically white chocolate. If you don't have candy melt where you are, use white chocolate with candy food colorings. You can get the same results. I'm also using half of a paper towel roll. It's just a piece of cardboard. I'm using some large marshmallows. If you don't have marshmallows where you are, and I know some countries don't, this you can just replace with a cupcake or a piece of cake that you've cut. I'm going to use a quick icer, a number 12 figure piping tip, and a number 123 star tip. I've got a little bit of edible glitter here. You can find that at most of your cake decorating supply stores or even craft stores. I've got some bamboo skewers, and this is a mold that is for the shells that we're going to do. Also found at most crafting stores or kitchen stores. You can find these as well. I'm also going to be using 3 8-inch round cake layers. Just cut a little tip off the end and start to fill your molds. As you fill, your different colors will come out. So you can fill half of one and then come up and fill half of the other. Wait for your color to start blending. And there it is. See how it's starting to come? A couple of different colors. There you go. And we're going to continue on with this with several different colors. Now another thing you can do is come in here and actually swirl those colors around in the mold. Okay, so I've actually mixed together a little bit of my blue and my green. As you can see, we want to get our mixed color, the blue and the green, together on here enough that we can spread it around. We've got to work quickly because it will cool quickly. Start getting it spread towards the outside. Don't worry about getting it on your other parchment. Spread all the way out. You want to get it pretty thin here. Come back in with your spatula and follow your line around. And then you want to come back in with a lighter color or the same. I've got a little lighter blue. And give the tail a little definition. This will also give it some support. As you're working, your candy melt will start to dry. Your thin one will. That's good. Go ahead and cut it off where you want to cut off. And as it's starting to cool, you want to make sure it's not running. Go ahead and put your put your cardboard under to give it support so that it will dry with the fin shape that we want. Make 3 or 4 of those for sure. So the next step is I want to make some waves. So I want to come in, give them a base, drop my line all the way up and around, and come back down. So we want to make some that go all directions because we're not sure how we're going to get them on the cake, and also we don't know about breakage, so you want to make quite a few of these. Make some taller and some shorter. Basically, I'm just dropping the line in. So I've actually warmed up my chocolate just a little more. I want a little more smooth. This time I'm not going to let it cool. I'm going to put my white right in. And use my skewer trick to blend. So you can see there's lots of ways to do this here. And you can have a ton of fun making really dramatic waves. We're starting our sculpting of our cake now. So this is the position that we want our doll to be. We want to measure because we want her knees to be at the edge of the cake. Now her legs are going to go down in. So what I want to do is mark the position where I need for her legs to go down in. And the reason is that I want her tail to come over the edge like her knees are hanging over. So it's a good position. Also, you want to rock her down, and see that basically what you're going to have left is about one tier of cake, just so you have an idea of how long the rest of her tail needs to be. So we want to go ahead and cut, and remember we need to cut down 2 layers. I have my skewer down in so I can pull it back up. And we don't want to cut more than really about a $1/2 size. Now, you guys want to know, why didn't I use a cutter and cut out the layers in advance? The reason is that I really don't want a very regular hole, and I don't want it to be too large. And I also don't know exactly where it's going to be till my cake is put together. See how nice and easy that came out with my skewer? Next, you want to have your doll about in this position. And what I want to do is kind of sculpt around her so that I can get some height in the back, and also so that it kind of looks more like a rock that drops away. So what I'm going to do is actually see where her hands are. I want her hands to be just like that, like she's supporting herself on the rock. So what I'm going to do is cut away a section here. And I'm actually going to place that back here for some height. And turn her a little bit so you can see, and I'm going to cut away another section, maybe a little bit closer to her and not so deep in. Now also, if you don't get exactly the pieces that you want to put back, you can also use large marshmallows to get the height and the shape that you want. I've got a bag with just a little bit of icing here that I'm going to go ahead and use for glue, and fill in here to put what are going to be my rocks. I'm going to use all these little sections here. And if I did want some more height, I could go ahead and put in some marshmallow, which I think I will do. And now we are ready to put our rock color on. So I've mixed up my rock color in advance here. And what I want to show you, if you can see here on the side of the screen, is that it's not fully incorporated. I want there to be some white, some real dark, and some gray. I'm going to load my quick icer here with black and gray and white all together. You can see it's all there. I want to use a really fine crumb ice, and I just used what was left over in my bowl after I filled my bag. Just a real fine crumb ice on there just to hold everything down, and to fill in the cracks is fine. So I've got my quick icer here, and I'm going to go ahead and start going around. And you'll see that I'm starting to kind of follow the contours of my rock a little bit, because I don't want to have to do too much to get the shapes that I want. Come around the back as well. Then hopefully, really all I'll have to do is come in just a little bit and put on some of those harder edges. I'm going to come in with my spatula. Now normally you would see me use a bench knife here, but I don't want that super smooth. I'm actually going to move back and forth. Be careful here not to be lifting your spatula up and down. You may pull your icing off, but see how I'm kind of getting that rough, rocky look, and that's exactly what I want. I'm going to come back in here in the front with a couple of my big marshmallows here. I know that my tail is going to be in here somewhere, and I may need just a touch of support for that. So I'm going to put 2 marshmallows in here for rocks, and it'll also give the front of my cake just a tad more dimension. Again, just come in here and touch up just slightly, just so you don't have any visible tip marks there, and that's perfect. I'm going to come back in at the base of my cake. You guys have seen me do this tons of times. What I want to do is put a border. I filled this with my teal, green, and blue, and some white, very pale. And I'm going to create a reverse shell with a big C here as a wave on the bottom. So I've got a border that looks like a wave. I'm going to go ahead and leave this part out for just now and see what I want to do with it later. Now, I don't want this to be too tall. I want it to be reminiscent of waves splashing against the bottom. Now that I'm around the front, I decided that I want to put one big wave here and one on the side, just around the front like that. Now remember, we've got all kinds of shells and still her tail to put on, so we're going to fill in lots more. Next, it's important that we position our doll. We want to get her hands back first. Get her tipped. I want her tipped forward just a little bit. Now, I am not putting saran wrap on her legs. I know many of you are going to complain about that, but this is a clean doll, fresh out of the box. She's plastic, and saran wrap is also plastic. That's just about where I want her. I'm sorry, I just realized you can't see her. There she is. The next step is really the scariest and the most important because it is her tail. So we know that we want her knees to come out to about here, right at the edge of our cake. You want to feel for it, right here. And then we want her tail to come down and over to right about there is where we think her ankles would be. Now I filled a bag, as I always do, with green and teal, maybe a little bit of yellow and white. I've striped it with some navy blue in there as well. And we're going to go ahead and figure pipe her on. I've got just an open coupler here. We want to start just behind her hips. Come out and down the front. That's step 1. Start on this side. And back down. See how I'm getting lots of colors in there? Want to come back in right just below her waist at her panty line there, and come down the front. I'm going to come give her some knees and down. So her basic shape is now on. We're going to use our baggie trick that we've seen so many times. This is just the edge of a Ziploc bag, and we want to come in and smooth ever so delicately. Now we've got the outside edge quite smooth. So you just want to come in here and just lightly blend the seams of our figure piping. Just very, very lightly. It'll blend some of our colors as well. Now, one trick to this is, and this is what I did before I started, before I iced the cake, I actually did a test run of her tail on the cake. So underneath all the icing and all of that, I did a test run to make sure that my colors were right and my shape was right and the size was right. Now, ever so often while you're smoothing, you want to go ahead and wipe that off. So just spend a little time in there smoothing and shaping. You can also use the tip of a skewer if you want to get in and around underneath here at all. That works too. Okay, so my tail has lots of color, which is what I wanted. You could do this in one color, 2 colors, or as many as I have. I've got green and teal and a little yellow. The next step is, and you can do this or not, if you've got your tail just perfect and you don't want to mess with it, then leave it at that. I have just a touch of tulle here, or netting. It's probably real hard to see on camera, but it's got that crisscross shape like scales. And I'm just going to ever so slightly touch along. Now this is going to be really hard to see on camera, but it gives her that little tiny bit of scale texture. Now it doesn't have to be all over, just a hint, just the idea. Another thing you can do is put this in the freezer first before you do that part of it, and you'll also get a nice effect that way. I'm going to come back in with just the tip of my skewer and just smooth this out here. Now, if this didn't get exactly as smooth as you want, you could give her a little waistband with maybe a number 4 rider and maybe a straight shell. I'm just going to blend it right into her waist. Mine worked out well that way. I've got one little bit of more piping that I wanted to do before we get to putting on her candy melt fun stuff. So I would like her to have a big starfish. So I'm going to mark it out. My center is going to be here. And I want to have 5 points. I'm just going to mark it so that I know where I'm going. I've got a number 12 figure piping tip here. And I filled it with some gold. I've mixed orange and yellow. And then of course I have not mixed it thoroughly, so I've got some striping in there like I always do. Now that I've got my 5 points marked, I'm going to start at the top with my lightest pressure and squeeze down to heavy pressure towards the middle. And I'm going to do that for all 5 points. Now I've actually used a coupler this time, which I don't usually do, just because it's an extra step that I don't want to do. But this time I want to be able to change it out. So I'm just going to blend that in a little bit with my tip. And I think I want that just a little bit bigger, so I'm going to come back in and add a second bit to each arm. Isn't icing fun that way? We can do whatever we want. There we go, yeah. I like that a little bit bigger. Now, it's okay for him to have some texture. Like I said, I used a coupler this time, and the reason is so I can take it off, use my same bag, and put a number 4 rider back on. And I'm going to come in and give him, my little starfish here, some dots for some more texture. There we go, got a nice starfish. Now we get to move on to the really fun part. I've peeled off our shapes, our waves that we shaped earlier. They look great. I've got lots of different sizes, and I'm going to go ahead and start to position those in behind her. We want it to look like the waves have just come right up the back of her, and that's why I had her tilted forward ever so slightly. You can bring them in front of her arm here. I love, love, love the way those turned out. Just stick them right down in your cake. It's giving us a super 3D effect. Oh, I love that. I think that turned out absolutely perfect. Just kind of see from the back. Looks good from the back as well as the front. And now we can just have some fun and start putting her shells on. Now, I have not forgotten her tail. I just want to add it last. Now I'm going to hold back a couple and show you how we're going to peel off this tail. Now I've made two. And there we go, look how perfect that is. Backside is pretty as well. Now, the one that I peeled off before, I went ahead and put a little glitter on. So I'm going to use that one. And we're just going to tuck it right in. See how my marshmallows have come up handy because they are supporting that ever so slightly. So remember how I said I wanted to hold back one of my shells, and I'm glad I did because I want to tuck it right up under there for even just slightly a little more support. I've got one shell left. I think I will put it right here by her hand. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning how to make this adorable Little Mermaid cake. I sure had fun showing you. I just have to show you this tail one more time. Look, I can put my hand completely behind it. Totally 3D. Anyway, don't forget, you guys can subscribe. It's always free. You can find me at The Art of Frosting at Facebook, where I share a lot of your work, a lot of my work, some of the things that we're not making videos, a lot of Leah's work. I do the same at www.theartoffrosting.blogspot.com. If you send me your work, I'll share it there as well. So there's lots more to come. We'll see you all again soon. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you like these videos, share. It helps me a lot. See you again soon. Bye.